This is the plaintiff, Linda Gomez. She says she found the defendants a perfect apartment. Their application was approved. But once they met the landlord, he discovered they lied on their application by stating they had no pets. He felt deceived and the landlord canceled the contract. And they still owe her the $1,757 commission they agreed to pay. So she's suing. These are the defendants, Justin and Sandy. Justin says they told the landlord they would give their cat to Justin's grandparents, so it wasn't an issue. The landlord changed his mind and decided not to rent to them. Now the plaintiff thinks she should collect a commission? No way. They're accused of telling a feline-fib.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says she is an excellent real estate agent who found an apartment for the defendants, and now they're trying to stiff her on her commission. But the defendants say the landlord changed his mind about renting to them, and they don't owe this woman a penny. It's the case of broker. He hardly knew her.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Ms. Linda, you are suing Mr. Justin and Ms. Sandy for $1,757 in broker fee that you are, according to you, entitled to, that they refused to pay. Tell me about it. What happened?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm Linda Gomez. On April 21st, Justin reached out to me through email and text, very interested in seeing a unit in Beacon Street in Boston. The next day, I scheduled everything. We met. The property manager and landlord's agent was there, and he and I conducted the showing. We walked through it. They loved it. It was perfect location for them since it was 7 minutes walk from their new job. So it was a no-brainer. A few hours later, I sent all the paperwork required to have this apartment taken off the market. And they sent all the applications very promptly, very well filled out, and I submitted them with their proof of income, credit reports, all the applications and broker's fee disclosure that they signed. When the landlord reviewed it, he loved it, and he said, yes, I want to rent my apartment to them, but I would like to have a Zoom meeting before giving the final answer.
So did they have a Zoom meeting and he gave the final answer? Everything was fine? What went wrong?
So when the lease was produced and Justin and his partner looked at it, they saw that there was a rule that no pets were allowed in the building. And they came back to the landlord saying like, oh, we have a cat. What can we do about it?
Wait, because the timing of stuff is important and I'm getting confused.
Yes. Yeah.
They put in an application, do they mention that they have pets?
No, zero. They actually wrote down zero.
Zero pet, okay. Then you say it's a done deal, they got the apartment and they notice in the lease, but they had already signed the lease?
No, at that point, when they wanted to have the landlord to either change the rule about the pet or just have them to know what to do, the landlord felt like they lied on the application.
So the landlord backed out?
Yes. The landlord said,
and you feel that they still owe the broker's fee, even though the deal didn't happen, they still owe the broker's fee because it's their fault?
Yes. You shouldn't lie on an application. If you have a cat, but you have one cat, give the landlord the opportunity to respond to that.
Well, how do you know? How do you know that they weren't going to just make other arrangements for the cat?
Because the building association has a rule of no pets.
No, I'm saying right. Like at the time that okay, let me hear from you, Mr. Justin and Ms. Sandy, whoever wants to talk first, and tell me what's going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go first. Everything she said up to this point is true, accurate. We went through everything, through all the process. It got to the point where we were presented a lease, and they're pretty standard. We knew going into Boston, roughly 20% of landlords allow cats, less than 9% allow dogs, less than 1% allow big dogs. So we knew going in this could be an issue. So we made plans ahead of time with my grandfather, who's had cats his whole life, as needed. When we got the lease on it specifically, it says no pets allowed, which is true, but then also at the end it says ask for written permission if applicable. So if we thought, okay, well, we already made these plans. We have a cat that we love. Why don't we just try to ask him? We had a great Zoom interview. They loved us. Why don't we just try to ask him if he could have a cat? A cat doesn't really do much. It just sits there. Turned out
cats can do a lot.
That's also true.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. They're, I mean, cats can urinate, and you can never get the smell out. There's problems. But also, my understanding is that the landlord lives in the building, and the landlord is allergic.
I believe they have 3 locations. I'm not sure if they live there. They have a place in London. They have a place in New York. They have a place. So we weren't even sure if they lived there. We were looking because we were asking because there's so many options we could do. We could have it professionally cleaned upon leaving. There's so many different ways we can mitigate the issue. Or like we said from the beginning, we could give it away that we already made plans for. So we expressed
to Grandpa.
We sent that. That's correct. My grandpa. If I called him in that morning and he immediately said, "Oh, do you have a cat for me?" Because that's just kind of how he is. Like he'll take care of issues if they pop up for as needed. So we emailed them at 11
So
o'clock.
you decided to email the landlord directly and ask the landlord, listen, the lease says with written permission I could have a pet, so I'm asking you, we have a cat we got together. So you actually already had the cat, right? And you say, do you think it would be okay? It's a very sweet cat, blah, blah, blah. And then the landlord says, absolutely not, I'm allergic, and that's a deal breaker. And then what do you say?
The plaintiff says the defendants lied on their application, and that's why the landlord changed his mind about renting to them. But she still deserves her commission. The defendant says the cat wasn't an issue because a relative was going to take care of it. Let's listen.
I had called my grandfather 20 minutes before we learned all this information about them being against us. We'll let them know. Thank you. It's unfortunate that you're allergic to cats because, I mean, cats are great. We love them, but like we've already made plans for this. We've had them throughout my life. I know that it's going to be hard for us to do this, but like we both moved to Boston for new jobs in Boston. It's a requirement. We have to be here. Like we have to get this done. We're visiting Boston just to get this done. We were going to do what we had to do essentially. And at that point, we effectively got communication cut. There was a scorched earth process. The landlord never spoke to us, only spoke to us through the real estate firm, through his side of this. And then Linda also let us know that they were kicking us out as well. So this
kicking
was
us out. Wait, kicking us out is a little strong. Hold on one second.
Yes, sorry.
Because you hadn't moved in. But well, let's see what you say. We have a few questions regarding what we should do with a few of our lease items. One is their parking. 2, we noticed there's no dogs or other animals clause in the lease. We have a 1-year-old ragdoll cat we got together. We trim her nails and bathe her once a month. She's extremely gentle, incredibly social. Would you give us permission to allow the cat? I am sure just acknowledging that would work for the document because, of course, the lease says no pets unless written permission. All right, and thank you for your help. We're looking forward to going to Boston. And the response is, oh, I am so sorry. There are no pets allowed. I am extremely allergic to cats besides, and I am afraid that is non-negotiable. To which you respond, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. There's so much joy. I've had them throughout my life. We thought that might be a possibility, so we made plans to give her to my grandparents in Vermont. They've been looking for a second one to pair with their short hair, and it's close enough to visit. Thank you for letting us know so quickly so we can get things taken care of. So they're following the rules. They're trying to see if they can get permission for the cat, which it might have been yes, and then it turns out to be no, and they say, oh, no problem, no problem. We've already made an arrangement, and we'll just go with the arrangement, not a problem. And then the landlord changes his mind. So why should they have to pay the broker's fee?
Welcome back to the People's Court. The plaintiff says she wants her commission because she didn't do anything wrong, and it's the defendant's fault regarding their cat. Let's go back into the courtroom and find out who wins.
It doesn't sound like they're the ones who changed their minds. Ms. Gomez?
Your Honor, I don't know if you have the application in front of you.
I'm going to assume the application says 0 pets.
Yeah,
but
0.
all they did was ask. Stop. If they had already spoken to the grandparents and they had already, then they have 0 pets. It's not necessarily a lie. But what's the big deal? They asked. They were told no. They very politely, they didn't argue. They just said, okay, we've made this arrangement, so we'll just go with. They're ready, willing, and able to take the apartment. And the landlord pulls out. Under those circumstances, and maybe the landlord felt like they were lying to, I don't know, I got a bad feeling. Great, the landlord can do what he wants, but go sue the landlord if you don't like it. How is it they did something wrong? They only have to pay you if the deal was going to happen and they backed out, not if the landlord backs out because the landlord got a bad feeling. I don't know what happened here, but what happened isn't their fault, and I'm not going to order them to pay you that broker's fee. My verdict in this case is for the defendants.
Thank you. Can I speak?
So, unfortunately for the plaintiff, if she does not prevail, she doesn't get that broker's fee. The judge says no way. Ms. Gomez, what are you thinking right now? The judge says you can't get that fee. The deal fell apart.
I feel the judge should have written my broker's fee disclosure, where it says that if the party is approved and a lease is produced, then the broker's fee is owed, even if after the fact the tenants back out and decide not to move in or something else happened afterwards. Actually, this happened before to me 2 or 3 times. All these times, my fee was paid. I invested time.
But
this is my livelihood. I don't have any other way of living other than being an agent. So I did my job.
I understand that.
For a lie.
But the
for
judge,
a lie that they told.
the judge pointed out the deal never went through. They never signed the lease. He stopped the process. So you really didn't have a completed deal, right?
No, the deal doesn't need to be completed. They just need to be accepted verbally. The apartment was taken off the market for them.
Anyway, look, bottom line is you gave your points to the judge. She didn't buy it, and she said you don't deserve the fee. I'm sorry, but that's the court's decision, and you're going to have to live with it. Justin, Zandy, let me ask you. I assume you found another apartment that you're happy with. Looks like it. Am I right?
Yes, we found a place that's we allowed to have our cats, so we're happy about that.
Well, that's good. Okay. Well, all's well as ends well. Were you afraid that you were going to have to pay that fee to the broker? That's a lot of money.
I don't think so overall. Yeah, it is a lot of money overall, just for a very small amount of just making a couple of phone calls. We were very happy that it went in that direction. We agreed immediately with the judge from the beginning that if they were going to go after someone, it should definitely have been the person who pulled out of the deal, not the person who was left holding the bag in the end of it. We didn't really see how we were at fault. We were trying to go with everything. We made plans ahead of time. We knew what we were trying to find, and we knew what we would run into, and we made sure we were prepared. So we were kind of frustrated with the whole process.
All right. Listen, that's very understandable. So good luck. Good for you. Good for you. By the way, how's Boston? How do you like Boston?
Phenomenal. Other than the weather sometimes, I mean, we found a place, ended up being on Boston Common. It's great. We can go to the park and we can bring our cat out on the grass. Everyone gets to see her, play with her. It's been, if anything from this whole ordeal, it made us realize how important Layla is, our cat, to us, and it made us happier in the end, it feels like.
All right. Well, good for you. So all's well that ends well. Good luck. Enjoy your new careers in Boston, and good luck to you.
Awesome.
Harvey?
Thank you so much.
So, Doug, this really is a case about who pulled the plug. I mean, it's pretty clear when you watch the testimony that it's the landlord that pulled the plug. The real estate agent is working for the landlord, and if the landlord decides to 86 the deal, then the realtor is simply out of luck, even if the realtor did a good job.
After a case, when the losing litigant says you're never getting it after being ordered to return something, what happens to the item?
Let's say we had a lawsuit and you had my bicycle and I got a judgment from the court that says I win, you have to give back the bicycle, right? And you say, no. I still have a few cards I can play. I can go back to the judge and ask for an order of replevin, what they call a replevin order, which is an opportunity to get the thing back. And when the judge signs that, you take it to probably your county sheriff, and they will go to that house, wherever it is, with you. And their order may have a break order, too, that will allow them to break the door open. In some circumstances, judges will give orders that allow them to force the lock and break into the house and retrieve the item. The sheriff is there not to get the item, but to keep the peace when you go there and escort you to get in and take it. That's one way, but there are others, right?
Contempt.
Exactly.
Go back to the judge and let the judge know that he's refusing to give it to me, and that usually doesn't go well for the refuser.
No. And the judge could fine you daily if you don't give it back. The judge could put you in jail.
Right. Until you give
Say,
it back.
30 days or $30 or whatever the hell they want to do with it. They can make it hurt.
Yeah.
So most people are going to give back the bicycle at the end of the day.